Merlin, good to have you here.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to start with Sorcery, the name you chose for yourself. What does that mean to you?
It's quite basic. Actually, my name is Merlin, and what does Merlin do? He just does sorcery. It's kind of a bit like this one-to-one.
Yeah.
I feel like techno is a little bit like that, very functional, very to the point. So that's why sorcery felt like
mystic and
yeah. I mean, it's kind of a silly name also somehow, but so it's that's the reason. Yeah.
And Merlin, you were then before we started recording. You told me that your parents are Italian, but you grew up in Canada, so you are Canadian by. If you want by design,
something like that. Yeah.
And so the reason why they chose Merlin as a name, was that a connection to the Merlin from the stories?
I think so. Yeah. I think my mother is probably responsible for that one. Yeah. I guess like the fascination of the wizard.
Yeah.
And the whole medieval period. I think it's also a period where my parents were really into the type of music. Of that period, so I guess Merlin was kind of a logical choice somehow
to give it that.
Yeah.
When you look back, so when you chose Sorcery as a name for your artistic project, and when was that? How many years ago was that?
I guess that must have been more or less before the first release. So I think the music was already, I had been working on the sound, and like the name was kind of secondary. I was just really focused on the music. And then when the Midnight Shift release came into the schedule, I kind of needed to find a name somehow. So I was like thinking about things and brainstorming. And I guess that must have been like early 2019 or maybe late 2018, mid-late. That's when the name came.
Yes. Hello, and thanks so much for watching or listening to this podcast with Almost Sound. I'm Joseph, and this is the Almost Sound Studio. Just a quick interruption to tell you that if you're a producer and you're looking to further your skills or get inspiration from some of the most interesting artists in the world, you can head over to almostsound.co.uk and get access to masterclasses and courses from some of the most interesting producers out there. We do have a range of masterclasses that cover pretty much anything from sound design, sculpting a low end, creating engaging melodies, all the way down to mixing and mastering and arrangement. Head over to almostsound.co.uk and select the masterclass and course for you. Because before you had a band, like you were a drummer in a band, you were using a different name, Merlin, I mean, I'm still, acting as a drummer. I still play drums. It's very much a part of my life. I guess as a solo artist is just my name, Merlin, the drummer. And then I wanted to, that's been kind of an ongoing activity professionally throughout my life. And when I wanted to sort of branch out towards more production or, music and composition more seriously, it just felt right to make a separation between these two things. Yes. And when you look back now, it's been 6 years, right? Roughly, since you started using actively Sorcery. Yeah. Do you ever feel, oh shit, I wish I used another name?
Actually, no, not yet. So far, so good. Yeah, no, I think I kind of, it still feels relevant. It still feels good. Yeah.
Yes. When I was preparing for the interview, I read that you started drumming when you were 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So, and you came from a family of drummers. So that was in your blood, in your family.
Yeah.
And how much of the physical drumming influences the way you are producing music electronically?
I think very much. I think it came to the point. So actually just, I'm a third generation. So my father and my grandfather, both drummers. Yeah. My grandfather, like more jazz, Dixieland, and my father, like the rock drummer, from the 70s. And my dad, he's more, actually the whole electronic thing is thanks to him, because to my father. Yeah. Because he's actually a massive geek, just like me. Mm-hmm. And he's always been at the forefront and kind of looking for, new ways of creating sounds and making music. And he's always been very obsessed with like electronic instruments and sounds. So I kind of grew up with the whole drum background, but also the integration of electronic instruments. So it was kind of a natural thing for me to combine them. It was always there. Now to go back to production, I think, I'm kind of obsessed with transients, with impact, and just kind of like that tension and release of energy, which is what I'm just used to. Like as a drummer, the feedback is instant. Like you hit the snare drum and it just hits your face like immediately. Yes. So I think that's kind of informs and drives, what I'm going for when I'm producing music.
Electronically.
Yeah.
I have so many questions around this.
Go.
One is, for example, do you ever feel that the way you are, if you're using the arrangement you in Ableton, for example, and you are creating a drum pattern, like let's say snares and hi-hats, in terms of how you write velocities, for example, do you feel that that is still quite limited because you're an experienced drummer? Do you feel that there is kind of a limitation in the way you can make that work into a DAW?
I think no. I think like right now, actually, like, the thing is that there's a big part of illusion. Now to go to the Merlin or the Sorcery, I think sound, like when you kind of dig into, the making of the sound or like of the production, I feel sometimes it's very messy when you isolate things or not even messy, like not that precise or kind of, not really what it sounds like. But then when you put everything together, it creates this image, right? And it gives that illusion where it can then, if you're good or agile at arranging these elements, it could give that picture. And that picture, depending on what you're going for, but maybe if it's being like expressive or velocity or having, some sort of intention in how to articulate, the intricacies of a groove, I think we have more than enough tools.
Right. To do that electronically, digitally.
For sure. At least I don't feel any kind of limitation on that front.
And in the way you express, do you feel that right now you can express the same way whether you're using a real drum kit or a digital one?
Digital drum kit or just a
for example,
drum machine?
If you're just drum machine or if you're writing just in the DAW.
Yeah, I think it's different. I mean, there's something so raw about playing an instrument. Obviously, that's it's kind of difficult to get. I'm actually not even trying to reach that because it's unfair for the drum machine or the DAW to compare it to that but just to go back about like how you can express nuance, I think that like the whole production technique side of things gives like a whole new way of expressing these things. So like, for example, if I would have with drumsticks, something where I could play like louder or softer or faster or, more intricate, when I start using things like compression or saturation or, things that behave on the character of the thing without having to be like one-to-one with like velocity or even just placement of the notes, I think that gives so much character or so much intention that I could also do with the drums. Like I gave a lot of drum master classes in the past, like on a sort of a high level university students. So we could go like quite, deep into it. And often what we would do is that we would reverse engineer production techniques, but like playing it on the drum. So like, how can you like gate, like sort of play the gate on the hi-hat and the snare, or like try to sort of like play a distorted beat. Of course it's not distorted, but just like the intention of that. And I think there's a lot of value with production techniques and like character and intention.
Yes. So you can, I mean, it's almost like there are different tools, different worlds in a way, and each of them has a different particular effect, or like if you're intentional about using the tools, whether you're using the digital only drum machine or the drum kit, you can create different things.
Yeah.
And you can also imitate each other.
Like, exactly.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, these techniques or procedures, they're all at the service of your message, or that picture that you want to tell, or the story. I'm all about storytelling actually. So it's more than the story that you're telling informs the type of procedure. And I think that often, we kind of get obsessed with the same story over and over again, just trying to like, I feel like a lot of musicians out there, they just like paint the same picture over and over again, which is great. But I think that there are many stories to be told. And I think all of these different techniques can bring to different results.
The different tools.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
And you you're saying that it's always about the message and the story you're telling. Yeah. Do you think, in what way can you tell your story?
Story, I think stories, plural. I think like I have so many. Oh my God, that's I just realized the question you asked. Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes, I mean, the story is not necessarily literal. You know, it can be very abstract. But, you know, I think there's a link to be made with structure. You know, the way that you organize the events that happen within a track. You could even zoom out a little, you know, further, and you can tell the story like within a release. So like whether it's an EP or an album. So kind of the sequence of events, right? So that's for me where the storytelling happens. Yeah, I mean, different, I don't know. Then I think it's more like I'm the kind of composer or producer that discovers the story as I go along. It's kind of like I'm like trekking in the forest and then just like discovering the elements. I think you have other people that are, or other producers that are really good at formulating the story in their mind and then just like creating it. I'm very impressed by people that can do that. Like I'm definitely not like that. It's way more convoluted and it's kind of a mess. And like I end up telling like 10 different stories, you know, in myself. And then I end up with like the last one that has nothing to do. And it's kind of a Frankenstein where I took a part of one and the other one. And yeah.
So you're creating, let's say you are, would you start by thinking I'm going to work on an EP, or you would start with a single track and then a second track and then a third track, and then you're like, oh, this kind of sounds like an EP altogether?
It gets even more granular than that. I think like, I realized with time that like there is a consistency in my taste, and that will basically yield things that are coherent together. So I don't like necessarily think right off the bat, like, oh, I have like this concept for an album. I have, you know, or like for like a bigger body of work. But for now, I've been so focused on the production itself that I'm very often just like zoomed in the groove or in the sound, in the sound design. And then I kind of trust that like my choices are going to, and then actually the EP just kind of, or the body of work presents itself. And it's just like, oh yeah, of course. Like, and then like, obviously these things just happen. And yeah, so it's more, a little more organic. Yeah.
Yeah. It just happens track by track or
or even sound by sound,
sound by
I
sound.
could say.
Yeah. And in terms of, for example, how you have a lot of references to the cyber world and to science as well.
Yes.
How do you think there is a consistency in the music you've been producing for the last 6 years as Sorcery in terms of themes that are recurring, maybe for you, and then what comes across in the EPs?
Well, I think, you know, as an artist, as a musician, I kind of react to the world around me inevitably through the music. So, I mean, of course, there's like on one side, there's what I want to do, what I want to tell the people, or what I want to sort of, you know, offer to the listener. But then there's also the other side where I'm dealing with the world, with my surrounding. And I think that's maybe where sometimes a little more like where the scientific approach, I love this way of seeing the world, you know, this more analytical, or because it's part of the process also. I kind of see the world in that way. I'm just like breaking things down and putting them back up, you know, and I feel that science or cybernetics or even like, you know, all of this like research areas are very relevant, and I can relate to these things. And I feel that there's like maybe some sort of like social overlap sometimes, actually most of the time. And, you know, it's a bridge between like scientific approach, but maybe also kind of a anthropological counterpoint to that. And, you know, like, for example, like a title like Mirrors of Perception is about that, you know? So you have like a little bit, like it kind of echoes this like echo chamber concept. So at that time, it was all about like how social media was like fucking around with politics and all of that. And then where people would just basically mirror their own perception. But then it was about like one thing, but I think that could also be extrapolated like on a deeper level where your perception can be mirrored on so many different levels. That's why it was plural, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just a few words before we go back to the interview. First of all, thank you so much for watching and listening to the show. We absolutely love what we're doing and interviewing artists and people who are shaping the field. And it's great to have you with us in this podcast. And then I wanted to ask you, if you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow us in the platform that you're using to watch or listen to the show, because these really help us a lot. It helps us grow the platform, it helps us reach more people, and it does help us reach guests that otherwise are very difficult to confirm and book for the interviews. And now let's go back to the show. Enjoy. And this comes as your personal experience of the world, or you're trying to tell a story. So your experience in this case, you're observing a phenomenon, the echo chambers, the effects social media have on people. You feel something, you react to that, as you mentioned, and then you kind of want to encapsulate it into your music.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just happens naturally. It's more like basically what you describe happens, and then I just notice it, and I'm like, oh wow, I just did that. So like that's what happened. So I'm kind of like accepting it, embracing it, and just sort of like highlighting it in that way.
Yeah. In the titles, they come. At what point do you normally, let's say with the mirrors of perception, when did you decide the title?
I don't know, it depends. Like sometimes the title comes like, it's kind of, it's like, it's hit or miss. I mean, sometimes also it's not necessarily like related to like the tangible world. A lot of the times I'm just living in a fantastic, parallel dimension. So like you have like weird titles like holographic capitulation. I don't even know how I came up with that one. But I mean, sometimes like these things just happen. So I don't know. It's not... But I guess what definitely drives is the sound, is the music. And then it also maybe happens sometimes where I'm like, oh shit, I need a title for this track because it's going to be on a release. And it's like, the title is like the date, version 12.3. So then I kind of do the exercise. So I don't know. It's kind of, it depends. It depends where it goes. Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like it doesn't have to be a process that is always set. It depends on how you're feeling.
Yes. Absolutely.
You mentioned meters of perception.
Yeah.
It seems it's a very important EP. I know Aphex Twin played.
Yes.
The track, one of the tracks.
Yeah. Fuck.
Which is Okay. Tell me more about the. I want to know more about the concept of the album. It seems very meaningful to you.
Yeah.
But for a moment, Aphex Twin played that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about the story.
I don't even know. Like a friend of mine just wrote to me, and she was like, "Dude, I think Aphex just played one of your tracks." I was like, what? And not D. There's a mistake. And then when I kind of like, checked it out, I mean, it was kind of like the first thing that came to mind. It was like, holy shit, this guy knows I exist. It was more like, let aside the fact that he played the track, like I felt so special just because, it landed there. And so even more of a treat for me, it's a remix made by Kangding Ray. So, and also Aphex mixed it with one of his tracks. So like, it felt like it was kind of like this like trio, like this like massive mashup collab moment, that happened live. So that was very special. And like, it felt so meaningful and to be like next to like these giants of electronic music. So that just kind of was like a nice thing. So yeah, it was just kind of, it feels like I don't even know how that landed in his ear, but I don't know, it's really cool.
Yeah, it is so cool.
I guess it must have probably been related to the label Bedouin Records, which I do believe that like they have some sort of unspoken relationship. I mean, there's great music that came out there.
On Bedouin, amazing.
Yeah.
Super interesting music.
Yes. And it's like, it's such an amazing record label. I mean, for me, like back then, I mean, actually still I have so much respect for what they've done for the curation. In my opinion, they definitely like pioneered, or like, responsible for like so much of like amazing music. Their contribution to the scene has been like on point. So it's like huge honor to be there. So yeah, back then I was like really obsessed by that label, and I really, really wanted to work with them. So I didn't know, it was kind of a long shot because you never really know. Also, the whole knocking on doors, the cold call is the worst thing ever, I'm sure.
For you? Or
for everyone.
Yes.
I think just like, sending your demo to a label, like, is just like kind of a drop. Like, it always feels like a drop. Sending a bottle, in the ocean, you don't know where that's going to land. So when I sent it to them, it was kind of like that. You know, I wasn't expecting anything, and like to my surprise, actually, it was a positive response, and it was absolutely lovely to work with them. I mean, Salem is really amazing. They've been so. I was kind of like, because they're so curated, right? So I had no idea what it was going to be like, but we were so synced actually with the concept that it was like, yeah, of course, anything, yes, absolutely. Like we were like, it was super streamlined to work with them. So that was amazing.
Good experience.
Yeah.
Quick side note.
Yes.
You mentioned the sending demos. It's always like cold emailing someone. What do you think it's so?
Isn't it? Because nobody answers, nobody gives a shit. Also because like, I guess you care, and it's like it's kind of like when you're sending music or when you're sending something that's so personal, you take everything personally, even like a non-response or a negative response. So, and I think, you know, to be fair, I don't know what kind of ambitions that people have, but like as soon as you try to reach, you know, out of nowhere, like bigger platforms or bigger labels, I mean, it's always, they're always bombarded with like amazing music. I think there's like so much great music out there. So it must be very difficult for them to just like, you know, parse through all of it. But on the other side, when you're just like sending that email and then just waiting and then like, okay, should I do like a follow-up? And then like, you know, so I mean, it's part of it, of course, but no, it's excruciating. I don't know if you've ever tried it.
Well,
I mean, it's like
infinite times.
Feels great, no? No, I don't know.
So I absolutely agree. I think it is. It comes down to fear, especially for, as you said, like you're sending what at the point might feel your best music, and then we artists were so like our identity is so intertwined to the music that we make, and a potential rejection or an actual rejection or a non-answer, it just feels like someone is like taking you, and
we're so fragile.
Yeah. I also think that in the years, I think I've got, I mean, definitely got many more rejections than yeses. And I think it applies for anybody.
Absolutely.
And I think if it doesn't apply, it means you're not trying enough.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I kind of figured out that at some point you want to, as an artist, to get used to the rejections, because if you're not exposing yourself to rejections, it means you're not putting the music out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And so sometimes I always feel, I think it's okay if people don't reply. And
oh my God, yes. I think it's essential. I think sometimes also you probably shouldn't have sent that that demo, you know, but I think you still need to go there and send it to understand that. I think anyways, you know, in my opinion, like any type of negative outcome is probably where you learn the most, you know, and that's probably the best thing that could ever happen. I mean, it's weird to say, I'm not a masochist or anything. I think also like wins are always good and important, but I think it's a part of it. And it also helps you to, you know, manage your expectations for one, which I think is something that we should all do at all times.
Yes.
It's very healthy to do so. And also to, like you say, like kind of accept, embrace, and it's kind of a growth item somehow. Yeah.
Completely. I wonder, for example, let's say you are incredibly lucky and maybe you're talented. I think there is some cases of, you know, the first album or the first track you make, you send it to a big label, they're like, amazing.
Yeah.
And you get success very easily. I wonder how much that fucks you up in terms of personality.
Yeah, I don't know. That's never happened to me, so I have no idea. Also, it's kind of difficult to judge trajectories from the outside, especially in an age where everything is so glorified and sublimed and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you win the lottery, I don't know. Cool. I don't know. Yes. It's like, maybe it fucks you up. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it appears that you won the lottery, but it didn't. Maybe actually your track is really badass and you should, I don't know. It's a difficult question. Yeah.
Do you ever, you actually mentioned that in relation to social media.
Yeah.
But for example, how do you live comparing yourself with other people? Because, for example, I find that sometimes very hard, especially in moment of weakness. You just got a rejection.
Yeah.
And then you see someone who is getting that release on the label you really aim for. So naturally, we're humans. Yeah. Immediately the brain goes like, oh, this person is so good, I'm so shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like I think comparing is the worst thing anybody could do. But like, I'm not like, no news here. Everybody knows it. Social media is just like turbocharging this dynamic, which is like so destructive. I mean, I don't know. I do this like terrible thing where like the people I compare myself to have like nothing to do with me. I will compare myself to Stanley Kubrick, which is like completely insane and it's like kind of comical. I mean, I don't. It's sort of a figure of speech, but I don't know. Like I think the comparing, what I've realized, I'm more like I get inspired from people, and it's more like I think, you know, there's like the destructive side of comparing yourself and saying like, oh yeah, I suck, or why is this person better than me? And like, you will always find better and you will always suck to a certain extent. But I think that, you know, to look at other artists and to measure yourself, you know, measure where you are is not all bad. You know, I think it could also, yeah, it could serve as inspiration. It can serve as targets, as goals. And like often also what I do this weird thing, because for me, it's kind of like music and art is definitely a communication medium. So very often I'm like kind of imagining that I'm speaking to somebody. And like, I'm not even doing this consciously. I kind of now with time I realize. And sometimes I speak to fictional people. Obviously I'm speaking to myself, but then I find myself like speaking to my idols that I've never met. I don't know who these people are. I'm clearly projecting onto them, but I'm like imagining myself being in a situation where I want to like, you know, get them, like excite them musically, you know, and that's maybe where some sort of like measuring happens or comparing, but it's in a constructive way. And it would be like, oh yeah, this person does like this kind of sound or this kind of energy. I want to try to harness that and more like celebrate this thing that's really impossible for me to do. So I think that's more the way now because it's kind of like impossible to say, or like it's kind of ridiculous to say like, I will not look at anybody and not, you know, consider everybody else and myself. I'm looking at other artists.
Yeah,
of course. And I think we need to do that. And it's also maybe okay to sometimes like see somebody that is excelling at something and you're maybe not there. And that could serve as motivation. It's just, it shouldn't become destructive, you know?
Completely, because if it becomes destructive, and I mean, it doesn't help anybody, it doesn't help your music.
Yeah.
And nobody benefits from that.
Of course.
Yes.
And exactly, nobody benefits. Not you, not your music, not your listener. Because like there's so many, sometimes, I don't know, I hear music and I can feel the pain in the track, which can be cool, but like sometimes it's like it's not cool, you know. It's just like okay, I'm gonna listen to it. Should I go through the end? So that's the thing. Like that sort of mindset doesn't serve anybody. Yeah.
Yes, you say the pain. This is the pain of someone who is trying to get to the next level, but they can't,
or trying to be something that they're not, right. Or trying to do something that they think is cool, or like just confused. And that is a very you know, it's not a blame. It's more kind of, it's a very disorienting space to be. And yeah, I mean, I can definitely, I mean, not all the time, but sometimes I can definitely hear it in the music. Yeah.
When you look back at your past production career, like you can start even from the drumming moments, but when you're thinking about your production, like how you make a track, were the moments where you felt you were in that space where you were disoriented, that you didn't quite understand how to translate what you felt into music?
Often, still, somehow, just because I have big musical ambitions. But I mean, like, I've been composing music for years. That's the thing. Like, I studied at the conservatory in electroacoustic composition, like, long time ago. So that's like the whole compositional process has been intertwined with my work as a performer and interpret. So basically I have a lot of tricks, you know, and a lot of things where essentially I just focus on the task at hand, and that helps me just like remove distractions, you know. And this focus, some can be, or like you can consider that as like obsess on like, you know, details, which is but I mean, yeah, I mean, I think like feeling lost is not a bad place to be, you know. I think it's there's some value. I think, you know, if you're like too much like, oh yeah, this is like, I'm so comfortable right now, maybe the music that you're going to do is going to be like solid and really good, but I think a little bit of danger and a little bit of uneasiness and, you know, sort of vulnerability is always good. I think what we were talking about just now is like the other extreme of the spectrum, where you're like, we're just like, just doing, you're just not, you know, there, it's not danger. It's just confusion, you know, like at the worst possible way. So I think it's more like dialing the thing. So I think once again, like it's good to be a bit confused. It's good to be a bit like, it proves that you're also developing, that you're searching. You just need to be, I think you need to be nice to yourself, which is something that like we're not all used to do, or it's a very difficult thing to do.
No, you mentioned that you are a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So are you also able right now to be nice to yourself?
Yeah. I mean, like now, like the mantra is like, good enough is good enough, you know, is kind of like, but I guess like maybe as you acquire a minimum of skills, then the good enough is actually good enough. Sometimes you like the good enough is not good enough. So you need to bring it up. Depends what you're doing. But yeah, also depends the kind of sound that you're going for. I think if it's like very detailed and highly analytical sound, then good enough is not good enough. You need to really go, depends what's your mission. That's the thing, yeah.
Yes. What is your current mission?
My current mission, I think, is just to make good music. I also want to drive my listener, like my audience. I want to engage. I want to sort of create like a space, a zone where we can like trip together, you know, where I can like mobilize. And then so I can, on one side, I can like feed, you know, some good stuff, you know, just like, you know, sort of challenge a bit the intellect, but also just like have a good time and just energy. I just want to conjure energy.
Yeah. It's so interesting. And do you think that has evolved over time? For example, when you started in 2019 with the Sorcery project, was it the same intention?
Honestly, I think it's been the same intention
forever,
since day one. Yeah. I mean, like as a instrumentalist, there's this whole soloist side of things, you know. Even as a drummer, which is sort of like a rhythm instrument, I'm very, very technical at a young age. So I was kind of considered like a solo artist, you know, like literally. So there's this whole thing about like, look at me, I'm on the stage, I'm a shining light, and I'm going to do this fucking very complicated drum solo for you. So that shifted, where as of now I'm not so concerned about like showing off my like the skills, are like, I know it's badass enough that it's going to be interesting, so I don't need to focus on that. It's more about how I can exchange. But I think the energy is the same. I just want to just put like power at a very specific point and share that with the audience.
Got it. And is it because of, for example, when you attend an event, you're attending a concert or you're attending a club night, is that the same feeling that you want to feel or you seek when you are in the audience?
So I don't put that pressure on the artist that I'm going to see. I don't like go there. I'm like, okay, are you going to do the thing I'm like expecting you to do? No, like I actually like I'm way more open-minded than that. I think when I was younger, I might have been like that. Maybe that's also where the comparing thing was like, oh fuck, I could do better, or like, oh fuck, he's so good, or like, you know, this artist, or oh wow, this, oh my goodness. But I think now it's more like I let them just show me what they have, you know, and show me what they can, you know, what they can, like what I never thought, you know. For example, I mean, I'm a snob also, so obviously like my bar is quite high and I can be quite difficult. But yeah, no, in the end, I try to always have an open mind. And obviously when I go see my friends, and these days, you know, I don't have that much time that I could discover so much new stuff like in real life. You know, I mean, obviously like I get so many releases, but just to go see live stuff. So I'm out there to support friends. But even then, like I'm always keeping an open mind and just like letting them just do their thing. Yeah.
Going as without expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's something that it fucked me up for a long time. Yeah, especially being before for me it was London, but also Berlin.
Yeah.
You go out, there's always friends playing, there's always people you admire. And I think at some point for us as producers and artists, if you go into, you are overanalyzing everything that is happening.
Yeah, of course.
You stop having fun.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But we're going to do that in any case. So I think we need to sort of like, make an effort to not do that. But like, obviously, I mean, I will always overanalyze everything. It's just like, I don't even realize it anymore. And I'm sure it's the same for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to counterbalance it and
Absolutely.
refine the joy to absorbing.
That's where I find that like dancing is a great vehicle for that, to sort of offset this over intellectualizing, because then you have to sort of focus on something else, and the movement is just giving, because obviously if you're just like this, then you're just focusing on one thing, but the movement sort of changes the dynamic of how you experience music.
For sure. And I also find for myself, exposing yourself to music that is not the one you produce.
Yeah.
For example, if you find another genre, style of music that you already like, or something you never heard before, you don't particularly like, you get very easily out of the analyzing.
Completely.
Because I don't give a shit about this is made. I don't even make that music, but then you are able to absorb it in a different way.
Exactly. You just experience it for what it is. Yeah. And there's definitely value. I mean, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your hybrid set.
Yes.
And you played Berghain.
Yes.
3 times already.
Yes.
4+.
Well, yeah, let's say like the main floor 3 times. And
yeah. How was that experience, and how did you get to play there for the first time?
Man, honestly, wow. Like, I'm still like, to this day, like, I can't believe that happened. I mean, for me, that place is such a special place. I've been going there for literally years, like many years, many. I've been through so many phases of like, oh, I want to play there. Oh, like, it's never going to happen to me. Or like, well, yes, this is my goal. Okay, no, like, I better not think of like so many phases of that when it actually happened for the first time, it was kind of out of my mind to as a goal to play there. It had been such a special place. I met so many different people there, meaningful, experiences, that I was just kind of having this like, sort of innocent, honest relationship to the space. And then when the first, offer came, I just couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, it's as good as one could imagine. It really is. I mean, I've always played the live stage, the live slot. So it's like not in the DJ booth. Like the monitors are actually not the best, but you feel the room. You really do. And so basically you go like, I have the live set and it goes through the mixer, and the mixer is like directly into the preamp of the function one. There's no, the first time the sound engineer was like, so the master just like thread carefully, because you have like, so it's like they gave me the keys to the Ferrari, know. It's like, it was like, whoa. So it's kind of it's a power trip, just for that, because you have like, so you're like driving the bus of this like massive system. Every time I've played there, obviously this kind of hometown gig, so like friends and family, I don't know if it makes it better or worse. I think it's easier to just play to like a bunch of strangers that I've never seen, like other than like people that I love and know, so it's kind of, but also it's so meaningful and so nice. And yeah, I mean, it always felt like if it was like, I don't know, Christmas, New Year's, my birthday, like all together, and more. Yeah. So yeah, and as an artist, I think it has been like incredibly like it propelled my growth immensely.
In terms of visibility or your artistic vision?
I think more like, I mean, I don't really realize what the visibility thing did, I think. I mean, probably, obviously something, but I didn't like, it's not like if I like, after I played Berghain, like I became like this, like, I don't know, maybe I'm not that kind of artist, or maybe Berghain is not what it used to be. Although I still think in my perspective, it's kind of a meaningful place for this kind of music. No, as an artist, I think, and, just also to, I don't know, to create sounds that are going to be like site specific. So I kind of treated it like a site specific thing. Mm-hmm. I had seen so many sets there, and I had seen also so many artists that I love, but that the sets didn't really land because the sound was either too choppy. I don't know. It's just like there is kind of like a sound that like really works. And it was like I took it as a challenge, and I knew the space obviously, but like how can I, honor the space, be true to myself, and be relevant, and that like just that whole process was very like revelatory, and sort of it forces you to strip to the essential,
right?
And like so many things, for example, I'm at the live set, I have like so many options, but at the end of the day I just go to like very few. Like all those extra options were not necessary, and this is something that I think this space definitely informs, just because of the size obviously, and the type of acoustics it has, and also the crowd. So yeah, it's a huge growth milestone as an artist.
It's a forcing mechanism to be creative. As you said, like to balance what you want to express and the space.
Yeah.
Particularly in Berghain, what were the changes, let's say, in the preparation of the live set that you had to make to compare to another club, for example?
Honestly, I think like less is best. That's the goal with Berghain, because like it's more about, I come from a background where musically I love things to be very intricate, I love different structures, like different time signatures, and like I'm an absolute nerd when it comes down to like rhythm and structure. So I think this kind of sound is not necessarily compatible with that space, but it's like I still want to give that energy. So it's more like it like the impact that it had was like, how can I just like go to the essential of what I want to do and what I want to say, without like basically removing all the extra. I might be repeating myself, but I think that's the biggest thing that really it did. Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned in past interviews that very often with a hybrid set is a matter of balancing complexity, which is what you're talking about, and self-expression.
Yeah.
And now you're also saying, okay, you also need to be very simple, right?
Yeah.
What is the trade-off when you are preparing a live set in this case?
Yeah, so it's the mighty functionality. Yeah, so basically, like, I don't know, that's just what it is for me. But like, the more I gain in functionality, so if I could translate this into musical terms, or into like, it's like dance floor, four to the floor, the more I lose in personality, but that's just the way I perceive it. And the more I gain in personality, the more I lose in functionality. So it's kind of like, it's really cool, but it's just like, sometimes, I mean, especially the first time, so many times I was like dropping that complex thing, and then I just saw like a huge question mark on people's face. I think it's not that we're having a bad time, but it's like, is this a breakdown or is this a beat? Like, what's going on? What are we doing here? And like on the other side, sometimes I'm just like dropping something that's really basic with like two sounds that like have like maximum character, and like they just work. So it's basically like dialing in where the personality lives in the functionality. I think, full disclosure, it was so complicated for me to do music with a kick drum on every beat. Like, honestly, man, like the biggest challenge, because like, it was like, I get so bored. It was so difficult, which is the most simple thing. You just put a kick on every beat and you just add shit on top. But for me, it was really difficult. And I think that Berghain really informed, or like not informed, but like showed me the way to be able to have this sort of regular beat, but still be, interesting and cool and personal. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting for yourself as well. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Because I think it's like, if I don't believe in what I'm doing, like, I don't think it's going to sound good. Like, I have to play it like I mean it,
Yes. To enjoy it and feel.
Yeah.
something.
And I think then the audience is that's going to translate to the audience.
And you are also recording a Masterclass promo sound, talking about the hybrid set, right?
Yes.
One of the biggest questions, the most frequent question is always, how do you handle stability in terms mainly of MIDI clock?
Yeah.
Essentially where you send the MIDI signal to like what is the master, what are the slave machines, VW. And people seem to face a lot the problem of losing the sync between machines throughout the live set.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? How do you even think about it in a way that makes you feel, as you're saying, functionally enough that you can express, but you're not going to struggle or you're not going to feel overwhelmed where you're playing?
I think like rule of thumb is like, just simplify. Like, just like, because like, everybody, like when you start with like, a live set, like it's just you have like an idea of what a live set should be, and then like we all have this image of like fucking 3 modular cases, like 4 drum machines, like all the like 16 channel mixer and everything. And so like that's a kind of a dangerous road where it's like, are you like mixing your album or are you making a live set? You know, it's like, so it's 2 different things. And I think that like that goes along with choosing the correct tools that are, you know, doing the thing that you need to do. And then like problem solving, like the clock or things like that. I think, I don't know, it's a difficult question to answer because live sets are so personal. You know, for me, like I've been through so many different iterations, and you know, even to the point where like I was like, you know what, fuck this shit, like 1 machine, 1 drum machine, like I don't care about anything, like it's too much, I don't need anything. And I kind of like I'd stripped it down, like, and then and all the way back to like I used to have like this huge Midas on the rider, modular in every possible direction, like master MIDI clock, like it was like an absolute mess. I mean, unless you really have to do it, but like I don't recommend going that. I think, you know, keeping in mind that like as soon as you're on stage, like your IQ just drops of like 70%. So like you need to make like your life really easy. I don't know, right now I'm clocking via Ableton, which is like
as a master, and
as a master, which is the most unsexy thing to do, and like, but it works. And it's like I'm using the Electron, I have like 2 drum machines, I have some sends, so essentially it's like the push, and basically that appears on the zone. And so I'm clocking via USB, not even using overbridge, just like regular old like MIDI to USB analog rhythm,
MIDI.
Yeah. And then I'm getting the MIDI out into the second drum machine, the Digitact, I'm slaving the Digitact to the analog rhythm.
Yeah. The rhythm.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then like, no, the modular too. Actually, the modular, I'm clocking the modular also via USB. So I have like
slaving it from the drum machines or not directly from
Ableton.
From Ableton. Ableton intermediated by the push.
Yes.
Okay.
I barely look at the computer. It's actually, I never look at it. It's just like the push, and then but the computer is, but the thing is that like, I don't know, I have like a M4, like my laptop is an absolute beast. Like it's just like, I don't,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like it's stable enough. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's just clock. So it's not like it's pretty solid. Yeah.
Yes. Troubleshooting on the fly.
Oh my God.
What is one of the hardest things one of the situations where that happened to you and you said, holy shit?
Okay, I can tell you, like the biggest like issues I've had at a live set all happened at Berghain. I wanted to die quite literally every single time. So first time, okay, it was like do the sound check. Very generous sound check, like 1.5 hours. They're very nice with that, like very accommodating. Like in the afternoon,
a few days earlier.
No, same day, but like full, like 45 minutes setup, 1.5 hour of sound check, going in the venue, like so very comfortable. Everything works. I keep everything as is, machines on always. You know, you don't turn everything off. And then I just remove the computer and then like go back. You know, I'm like 20 minutes before playing, you know, put the computer.
You left the machines there on
machine, all the machines on modular drum machine, like on is just the computer. Just
but they move the stage, right?
No, the stage stays.
Okay.
Yeah, the stage stays. Everything as is. Plug the computer. So I'm like looking like, dude, I was so nervous. Like, I think I've never been so nervous. It's like I was blue, you know, I was like, ugh. So basically I look, okay, everything is good. For whatever reason, like on the zone, like half of my stems, because I'm like multi-tracking, like not coming out. So like I start and like nothing is coming out. I don't understand. Like I'm like going in preference. So like the first 10 minutes and like I was like jamming, you know, so I had like the kick at least the kick was there, which like saved my life, which basically it was like a 10-minute kick jam with like new things just appearing like, and then finally like, and then like in the end, like people said like, oh, it was so cool how you started really stripped down. And then like I was like, yeah, totally. So, okay. I mean, like to this day, I don't know what happened, but it was like, so the computer sucks because that's the kind of shit that actually happens. More than losing clock, that's the kind of issue I'm getting with these sort of digital tools where you have like output issues and you're just like reselecting, deselecting, selecting the sound interface like 20 times. It doesn't come, and then out of nowhere it comes. So that was one. Another time, like channel just dies, whatever, it's just no more channels. So like, what do you do? Like, and then it's like, oh, that's where I have like a lot of my textures and all the things. So like reassign the thing. So, I mean, by now I got really good at troubleshooting in real time. I think that's to go back to the setup, the simpler the setup, the least areas you have of failure. And I think it's very important to sort of manage that.
Yeah.
I see like now you have like live sets like Norback or even Alarico or like the new school, it's like Akai Force. That's it. Boom. Especially if you're playing your tracks, and that's what I also want to do because I'm a producer. And I think that's going to be a big topic, or that is a big topic that I'm going to be talking about in the masterclass, is how to reverse engineer your tracks. Which elements are useful to have? What do you actually really need? I feel that like a lot of those new school live sets are more like kind of like a DJ set plus. They're just basically toggling and you're just playing your music, which is legitimate. I mean, if you can produce 1 hour of banging tracks and you can load them up into your sampler, whatever. At the end of the day, nobody really cares. Only us musicians are going to say, oh, he doesn't have like a modular. But I still think there's value to have a bit more access in there to be able to jam and improvise. But yeah, so it's just like making decisions. Yeah.
On the fly. And for example, that time in Berghain where you had this problem, what I'm sure you reflected so much on it. What was the issue? Audio card? Like, were you going through an interface?
No idea. To
this day, yeah.
It's
a
like
glitch that is unexplainable.
It's like right now we're like I feel like the joke is that like it was kind of like the hex, like the curse, too much energy. I don't know.
The energy.
And every time. Yeah. Because like I did the exact same live set, same setup, identical.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks later or whatever, like in another club, and it was like perfect.
Yeah. Could also be, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is like going into the sorcery world, Maria, and the magic world, but it can also be really your energy, you're there, you're so tense, like your body is,
I think so.
Electromagnetic field is like fucking up directly with the thing.
100%. That's honestly, that's the most logical explanation I've got.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense. And then like the craziest part is then it works. And it's like, okay, you've suffered enough. Like then it goes. It's like, okay, why now?
Yeah.
I've literally been doing exactly the same thing like 10 times in a row and now it works. So yeah, I don't know, maybe some sort of ghost in the machine. I believe that. I think that like, as living beings, we have some sort of energetic field that we emanate. And when you're in these extreme situations, like, the energy, okay, maybe it's absolute bullshit. Not very scientific of me to say this, but like, I don't know. Yeah.
Then I think it could be.
Yeah, possible. Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah,
it's a cooler. Yeah.
And you mentioned something about, also you will explain that in the HoS Masterclass, but a very important thing to reverse engineer. So let's say you have discography of tracks.
Yeah.
You are selecting some that you think would fit for the live set. How do you make sure that you make them ready for the live set? What are the things that you need to take care of? And the immediate thing that I can think about is the loudness, consistency of loudness across tracks, especially the ones that are less 4/4 beat. You want to make them consistent. What are the one or two things that you need to pay attention to?
I mean, I kind of realized also by my whole approach of jamming and of like just like sort of remashupping my stuff is that very often you need that one element that is recognizable in the track, and that actually doesn't really matter which kick you have under there, and then like it will translate to it. So right now, and like there's so many tracks that like I never released that I sort of use just for the live and vice versa. So basically often now I'm just stemming out that part And then maybe that part is the kick, or maybe because it has like a very like specific character, or often it's more the lead or the texture or the bass line. And then I kind of take that and start with that, you know, just throwing in the live set, see how that reacts. And then I'm like, okay, does it give that picture of that track? Okay, no, actually, no, I need the hi-hats. And then I kind of like handpick these elements. Before I used to do like the whole stem process, everything, load that into the live set, every single element, and like what am I stemming, you know, and then like over stemming things, and like now I'm realizing actually it's just like 2 or 3 different elements that you really need.
Yeah. So it's more you need to make a decision of, okay, this track, these are 1, 2, 3 elements that really represent this track.
Yeah.
I just take that, and then if I need a new kick, I need a new bass.
Exactly.
I remake it from scratch.
Exactly. Or maybe I will in the end need that kick as well, but I kind of like, I go like one element at a time, you know, sort of like not so, because the thing is that like when you arrive in your lives, in your setup, and you have like all of these things, and then you're like, okay, here are like 20, you know, new sounds. It becomes like really overwhelming to have to deal with everything. So I'd rather just like bring them like one at a time. I think right now also my live set is kind of a growing organism that is just like shifting. So maybe I'm at a place where I can just bring 1 or 2 elements at the time, but I would still try to keep it, you know, as straightforward as possible.
Yes. Going back to the same principle as before, you want functionality.
Yes.
Minimizing the single points of failure with the machines, but also with the actual music that you're preparing.
Yeah.
Thinking about production, so what comes before the live set.
Yeah.
What are the things that you think most producers that you hear or you in the past make? What are the biggest mistakes or the most common mistakes?
Yeah, I saw that question. Honestly, I don't think there are any mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the biggest mistakes are the coolest shit ever. So I don't know, like for me, like my production process is one big mistake. I don't know. So it's kind of, it's a tricky question. Okay, obviously I could say like check your phases, you know, make sure that you don't have like a low end phase cancellation, or like that it's not too hard. Yeah, I mean, I could say these things, but sometimes like I've seen like the weirdest shit ever. Speaking of phase, I've seen like Kyoka like automate, you know, phase shifting on the low. Like, what are you doing there? You know, it's kind of like going like this with the speaker, which is like the thing that you should never ever do. She did it and it sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. So at this point, like, I don't even know like if there's such a thing as a mistake. I think if it sounds good, if you manage to you know, tell that story or to paint that picture, it's fine. So I don't know. I mean, if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, it's not good. And then even then, it's kind of very subjective. So I really don't see it. It's difficult for me to say that. I know that like a lot of people would love to have an answer to that question, but I'm really sorry I can't be of any help on that. Yeah,
pretty fine. I think it's also because that allows people. I think thinking this way, it makes you feel more entitled, or let's say you allow yourself to make more mistakes, quote unquote, to try these things that are not the book version of it. And then you have,
I mean, that's what I love about art. I get to make like 20 reckless decisions like per second. That's part of the whole point. Like, it's kind of like you fuck shit up, basically. And I mean, like, it's how do you fuck shit up, you know? And it's like, yeah, of course, sometimes you want to have something that's very specific so it can like, you know, hit correctly. But like at the end of the day, like we just want to like, that's the work of the artist, in my opinion, is to just like, you know, abuse and like just like do things that you shouldn't be doing. We have to, the whole life is like things that you should be doing. It's like when I make music, I want to be doing things I shouldn't be doing, you know?
It's the freedom of expression.
Yes.
You mentioned before we started, like you told me that you collaborated with Max Cooper.
Yeah.
Also brilliant artist, very, very unique in the way he processes music and also does audiovisual. You did 2 remixes for him, and then you did now a collaboration track.
Yes.
What did this collaboration allow you to express?
So okay, first of all, it was really unexpected when I got a message from Max. I mean, like I've always held him in the highest regard, and especially the whole AV work and the music. And he's kind of like a OG, you know, veteran. Like he's been around for a very long time, but like musically, like we're kind of in different areas. So it was very unexpected, but huge honor. I was like, of course. So I took the challenge. Also, yet another one. So the remixes were amazing because he basically, when I said okay, he just sent me like the whole album, like the stems of every track, and he just said like, pick what you want.
So cool.
Yeah, but it was also a bit overwhelming. I was like, can you please tell me which one? Like, can you tell me a bit more what to do? Like, it's too much. Like, is also like the, you know, like the sessions were like gargantuous. I mean, some of them like insane, you know. It was very interesting to see also the whole, you know, architecture of them. So he was like, oh, do what you want, anything you want. So I kind of started one, and then like, I don't know. And then I started another one, and then like the other one, like it was super melodic, no drum track. And I don't know, I kind of got myself into like something a bit weird. And then basically at one point I didn't know like who I was, what to do. It was like, you know, the whole confusion part. So I like sent him, I was like, okay, look, dude, I have these two sketches. Like, can you tell me? He's like, amazing. I'll take them both. So apparently, you know, like it was going better than I thought. So that was the first process. And then he came back to me a few months later, and then he's like, I'm working on a new album. Do you want to make a collab track?
Super cool.
Yeah. And okay. And then he's like, mostly there's one of your tracks that I've been playing. Or he said that he's been playing, and that was very useful. So that's where the functionality, maybe it was kind of a useful tool to sort of bridge, you know, from tempos, because there is kind of like a metric modulation trick that's happening in there. And then like he took that concept like to like the whole other level, because it's Max Cooper, and he's like, I want to use this, you know, collaboration as a bridge tool to you know, tempo shift, but also to shift to shift between our two musical worlds. So it was amazing to go. So basically this track is kind of a mutant where there's kind of like the Sorcery DNA, and then like he sort of like he elevated it into like the Max Cooperness of things, you know, and basically that became the whole concept of the track, which is kind of bridging these two things. Yeah, so, and there's this whole tempo shift, and it's like epic as fuck. And it was like the process was so cool because it was very dynamic, you know. I would do something, and then he would like, I could feel, you know, in the message like that he really liked it, and he would like answer back musically, and I was like, oh my god, he did not just do that. I was like, okay, how about this? And it was super good. So it went really fast, and yeah, so I'm very excited to see that coming out.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Very excited for you too.
Yeah.
It's also beautiful to work with someone who has a very different way of working, because then you learn a lot. You get inspiration from that. You contribute to each other's vision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, once again, I was really surprised that he was, that he was like considering this. But actually, like at first I was like, why? But now I get it. I think, I mean, he has more experience, so I like it. Like he saw something that I didn't.
Yeah, it's interesting because you mentioned a few times, so like, for example, with the Aphex Twin, then Berghain, and then Max Cooper, I think there is a part of us that normally says, why me? You know, like, is that really happening?
Yeah.
You question even your, I guess, you can say confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Like someone is appreciating, someone that I appreciate, or a club is appreciating so much your work, you actually start thinking, why is this really happening? Is it a dream, or why is it happening to me? If you were to give advice to a producer who loves music so much, like you do, for example, is been in music for so long, and they look at you and they think, it will never happen to me, this is impossible. What would you tell them to make sure that they stay on track, they keep doing music, and they don't drop the ball too early?
I think that's a good mindset, to be like, not like I suck, this will never happen to me, but just like remove any expectations. So on one side, if you have no expectation, anything that happened, whether big or small, is cool because you're not expecting it. You know, if you're like, you know, I think it's good to be ambitious, but like expectations is kind of like then it goes on the dark side. So focus on the task at hand. Once again, do your best. That's like always the thing, also just focus on what you're doing. I think maybe to pick back up a little bit what you were saying before, like you win the lottery and then like you're like you send your first track to like Osgoodtonen or whatever, like a massive, like a Warp Records, and then you become like the next fucking Amon Tobin, I don't know, like, to like go. But honestly, I don't think it works like that. That's the thing. So like we have like this sort of story that we're telling us like, oh, that's what it means to make it, but like it doesn't mean anything. Just forget about all of that. Do your thing, do the best that you can, and your story is going to be told and written, and the way that the story is going to be written is going to be dictated by your ability to be true and to be honest. So I think that's the only thing I can say. And so just don't think about that shit. Just keep on keeping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think it makes a lot of sense rationally, and with a cold mind, I think most people would agree, and like I certainly agree about everything. Yeah. What gets in the way is the emotional part, as you were saying before, the ego, how much we associate with our music, and what do you do practically? For example, if you have this emotional impulse to say, "Oh no, it's never going to happen. I don't believe it," you kind of like, your self-doubts then start getting up to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one. I mean, I just focus on the work once again, but that's kind of it's a slippery slope because you end up just circling back on yourself. So if you're in that mind space and then you focus on your work, then vicious circle is just around the corner where you just start like, so it's difficult. Basically, with time, just take a break. Just do something else, and something that's fulfilling. At the end, it's more about like nourishing yourself with activities that will basically give you a good feeling with what you do, and basically focus on the pleasurable side of this type of work, which is actually brutal to be doing this kind of work as an artist. Just like even freelance work is so intense. Honestly, I don't recommend it. Like, it's kind of like, if you want to go there, do it, but it's like, it's not all that fun actually. So it's more like nurture the pleasurable side of things. And I think that's, now to go back to this topic, it's kind of like, if you focus too much on like how much it's not happening for you and how much you're basically losing track on the real reasons, it's also taking away a lot of energy and resources that you actually need to be able to do the actual thing. Mm-hmm. So it's more kind of like, be kind to yourself, focus on pleasurable things, and sometimes maybe you need to center yourself with other activities, like, I don't know, like, I love to cook. I'm passionate about food. So it's kind of a ritual every day. And it's like, I cook beets and then I cook, like a curry.
Is your Italian?
Yeah, exactly. I can do fucking Italian, like all of it. So, and, or sports, or like any type of getting out of activity, social life. That's not so. And at the end, traveling, obviously, if you can, I think at the end, they all sort of feed into each other. And that kind of helps to keep a sane mind and to just sort of get out of that spiral of saying like, I'm not good enough. Why is this not happening to me? Or like, why is it not my turn? Why him, or her or me, or like, so yeah.
Yes. It's more of a creating other, I like the concept of having a table that has more than one leg, where you have also your cooking, you're traveling, other parts that make you feel that you're not dependent only on one thing. Then even if there's a moment where things are not going so well for that thing, you feel a bit down, you still have other things that support you.
Yes. And I think they feed into each other. Yeah. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. And like, at the end of the day, if you're really dedicated to what you do, your whole life will revolve around that. So whatever you do is going to be about that. So might as well just do other things. They're going to be about that anyways. But so you don't need to like double insist on it.
Yes. Yeah. So far, what has been one of the most challenging moments in your musical career?
Oh, wow. The most challenging. Wow. I think just keep on doing it. not like, you know, it's weird to say. I mean, because I've been doing it for so long, like literally like year, if I calculate like my work as a drummer and as, you know, like director, visual artist, and it's kind of like I died and reborn like many times, and that is a very uncomfortable process to go through, and it's very draining. So just that whole, you know, going through all these different phases and cycles and keeping the stamina and the faith, that has been like one big one. So it's kind of like it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's more like how you do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, or else like there's so many challenges daily. I think like, yeah, like the broader picture, like the broader challenges, those are the ones that are in the end the most meaningful. I think on the moment, sometimes it might feel like, oh, I need to go through this very complicated thing to be able to get my career where it is, but it's actually very micro. And the things that actually matter are they both matter, but like the broader steps are the most difficult ones. Yeah.
Broader steps is where you put your time, what you focus on.
Yes, how you manage your energy, like the type of outlook that you have also, because it's like you're kind of like projecting into the future. I think there's like, and that's another slippery slope, because it goes into like the expectations, and so it's like you need to obviously like aim, but like you need to give yourself a direction, but without like, you know, having too much expectations. So yeah, it's kind of a delicate dance between that. It's kind of a mission. I think it's more that. I think that I like that word. It's a mission. So you kind of keeping the mission going, whatever that and also the goal. The goal is all an illusion. So because it always shifts, you know, I think goals are necessary to sort of keep moving, but it's more like, you know, the mission is kind of like a living organism also, and it's just how can your ability to just stay true and to navigate through that.
Yes, even when and until goals don't happen, or if they never happen, I think the important part is just saying is like having that mission and having this direction.
Yeah, I think actually now I'm to go back. I'm thinking about like this, you know, tip I can say to like young producers or musicians. I think like practice the zooming out motion, because it's like we're so like here, like, you know, everything like in the work, in the like I'm fucking dreaming about snare drums and like, you know, mixing techniques, and like in like my career, like we're always here, right? So like I think like learning how to do this regularly. I mean, obviously you can't always be like floating in the air. You need to do this back and forth, but like learning how to see like the broader picture also kind of releases the tension. It removes it gives new perspective, it gives new outlook. And I think this is to what we're saying now, like to having, like learning how to distance yourself a little bit and just like having a broader look
at things. The example would be, for, I don't know, you having a quote unquote bad day in the studio.
Yeah.
You're working on something, you cannot quite solve it today. You're thinking, oh shit, in the next month, I don't have any gigs. Yeah. So the short term is going quote unquote negatively.
Yeah.
Then zooming out would be, but in the end, you know, I'm doing very cool projects. I'm investing time in things that are meaningful. I believe in what I'm saying musically. I have a good perspective of where I'm going.
I'm lucky to be doing what I'm doing, because this is a massive privilege that I think that we all take without, you know, more or less aware, but kind of for granted. I mean, think about it. Where like if this is your life, like you're just like fucking around with like synths and drum machines and like trying to like make a beat slap, that's your mission. Like this is kind of obscene, you know. So I feel really lucky that I can do that. My commitment to this privilege that I have is to do the best that I can, and that's where the zooming out actually you can zoom out like really far.
A lot.
I mean, and you should sometimes. You should also, you can even zoom out like I'm like a fucking ant on the planet, like orbiting around the sun, like in the universe. I think that's, I mean, it's kind of a cliche, but it's also good to do that. But I think you can zoom out, you know, the way you did, but you can also zoom out like just like being a person on this planet, you know, and that's your daily grind. I mean, this is like a massive luck. And it's not about being guilty. It's more like about honoring that space that we find ourselves in, you know, that we just, and maybe we're really good at it. So let's just, use that to kind of like chill out and just keep on moving forward. Yeah.
Gratitude, appreciation.
Absolutely.
Yes. Do you, how far into the future you think about your life? For example, are you a person that is, are you looking at your next 20 years and saying, this is where what my vision is? Or it tends to be shorter term or even longer?
I think when I was younger, I was doing that more. And now honestly, I don't have time to think about this right now. I don't I mean, I think it's ambition, right? But, yeah, not much, but maybe it's important to do that at earlier stages. It's kind of probably necessary to also ground yourself. Like, okay, like this is what I'm going to do. I mean, when I was giving these drum master classes to these university students, I mean, the first question I was always asking was like, you want to be a drummer? Like, why? Why do you want to be a drummer? And it was kind of a trick question. And I think that's when you start to think like, okay, like I'm going to onboard this mission, this journey, and I need to think about like where I want to go, because it's important to sort of, but once you kind of reach a few milestones, I think you think less and less about like where you want to go. I mean, obviously we all want to be successful, you know, at the maximum capacity of what is relevant. That's kind of a given, but I don't over obsess about that. So it's more like right now, but also the more busy you get, I think the less time you have to think about these things. You just move forward, which is kind of a good thing, because I think when you don't have a lot of projects, that's maybe also when you start to overly project into the future.
You become too self-conscious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you look at your next future, what are you most excited about? Can be anything that is happening the next, I don't know, 6 months. Max Cooper is one of them,
yeah,
the collaboration. But maybe a bit longer term, what are you most excited to dedicate your energy and time?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm genuinely excited about just the future right now, as bleak as it is, to be fair. I mean, let's not necessarily go in there, because I'm equally excited, but equally terrified and just kind of don't want to think about it. But if I think about my artistic ambitions, let aside the tangible gigs that are coming, Max Cooper or this other project I'm working on, the immersive installation or gigs, I think I'm excited about just continuing, which maybe sounds a bit boring, but it's really that, like, for me, it's all about what I do. So yeah, I mean, obviously the gigs are super important to keep motivated, but like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you like, yeah, the next Berghain date, very exciting. Absolutely.
Sure.
And like all of this, but yeah, I'm like right now I'm more like on a broader spectrum way of thinking. I don't know, maybe you speak to me tomorrow and it's going to be different.
Yeah.
But like right now it's like that. Yeah.
The direction, the journey.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful to hear. What drives you in life?
I don't know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Of course, drummer lifestyle, Italian blood, drummer lifestyle.
It's like, just wow. I mean, that's a loaded question. I don't know. I mean, drives me in life. Yeah, the simple things. I think I love to engage. I love to meet like fascinating new people. Like there's so many great people. I feel so lucky to have so many great people around me in my life that I've met, that I have as friends. Yeah, so discovering new things is huge for me. So people is that, discovering new people, meeting new people, but also discovering just stuff. Like I read tons of stuff. I'm like passionate about food, passionate about like obviously music, just art in general. Yeah, just like I'm kind of like a hoarder of like cool shit and information. So that really what drives me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, curiosity and experiencing new things.
100%.
Yeah. What trait of your personality is a blessing in the studio, but of course in real life?
All of them. I don't know. Oh my God.
Perfectionism.
Yeah, I guess maybe like perfectionism, or okay, so good in the studio but bad in real life.
Yes.
So I think my obsession with transience.
How does that translate in real life?
Oh man, you have no idea. I think Yeah. Yeah. I think like, like I like it when like I like impact, but like sometimes like it's like I need to tone it down on the on the transient in life. Yeah, maybe transient personality or like just like I live life to the fullest for better or for worse. I think I'm kind of extreme in my ways of doing and being. So that's kind of like a hit or miss, but like so far so good.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess that's a good one.
Yeah. If we were to ask one of your closest people, maybe your wife or someone else, what is a thing that Merlin sucks at? That you should definitely prove that
So many things. Oh my God. Maybe, well, you see, like I have so much like regard. I hold myself in such high regards. I can't even tell you where I suck. I don't know, man. I think I suck. I don't know, because I'm pretty patient. I think I'm like, maybe I suck at sports, probably. I should be better at that. Although I'm kind of sort of a physical person, but I think I suck at sports. Yeah.
get in there.
Yeah. But I can dance. That's for sure. There you go. I don't know if it looks good, but it doesn't matter. That's besides
It's for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And let's say you are holding an imaginary flag above your head.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, that's the first thing people see.
Yeah.
What does the flag say or display?
I love you.
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And if you were to choose a closing track for one of your sets, it could be one of your tracks or from someone else for the rest of your life. What would that be?
Oh my God. I don't know, some ambient pad. I don't know. Close it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's like I usually write. It's an interesting thought process because I'm just realizing now what kind of tracks I usually end up with, and they always have that vibe, which is kind of melodic, because my sets are very like rhythm oriented, so it's kind of like nice to have that ending. Oh my God. Wow, that's, I don't know, like I'm not a DJ. I can DJ, so it's like I have like, so it's kind of like I don't have this like, oh yeah, let me just like this record, no. So and like and it feels weird to say like one of my tracks. So I don't know, but like probably something melodic that has, if it's a techno set that has something. Oh, actually, yeah, that's okay. Let me ask you, what kind of set here we're talking about? Because I do different sets, and I think different endings come for different sets. So if it's a techno set, then definitely melodic and maybe something a little more intricate rhythmically, so I can finally like, I can, express myself. Like I can annoy everybody for the remaining few minutes with something more complex. Yeah, I think maybe that melodic and rhythmically intricate, whatever that may be.
I want to find the track when it comes to you.
I guess maybe one would be holographic capitulation. That's one I've been using. Or lately it's another one that's coming out soon. It's not out yet, but like they both have but you can check out holographic capitulation. I think you'll get it. Yeah.
Yes. What is one of the funniest or weirdest guest list requests you've ever received?
Oh my God. Like, I think they're all more or less weird. Sometimes rude. I don't know. Maybe rude is more interesting because like sometimes people are like really kind of entitled, for whatever reason. And it's like, so you get like the followed by like right away. Oh, and then like a bunch of likes, so sort of to like, oh, there's background. But I don't know. Once it was like, oh yeah, me and my friend are traveling, would be nice if you, and just like 5 people, like free, like also they know that you have free lists and like so it would be better if it would be like the free lists or things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're all kind of obnoxious. There's every time I got this, I'm like, I should like make a compilation of these and like try to get all my friends, and somebody did it. Vincent Neumann did that. Yes,
he's of the one he receives
of everybody. I think him obviously, and like absolute hero to have done that. So like I think that's a good resource to answer this question because it goes like all over the place. Yeah.
Vincent Neumann is Instagram sucks, right? On Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I need to get to speak with him as well.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah. And he's also a therapist, right? I heard.
Yes, he is. So Yeah.
We should.
Yeah,
talk to him.
completely.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you haven't had him here.
No,
Oh, do it.
I don't know why it kind of always like fell through the cracks, but then it's a
Oh,
sign.
I want to hear his closing track. I think like this guy, like he's a walking encyclopedia of music, like of techno music. This dude, yeah, absolutely.
Super interesting person. So
Yeah.
for sure. And if you got stuck into let's change it a little bit. You get stuck into a prison cell for a week.
Yeah.
You can choose one artist, dead or alive, any kind of artist. Who would you want to spend time with?
Wow. So I don't know. That's also do I go with somebody that I know because I'm compatible, or with somebody that that's it's too dangerous because like I guess artist, dead or alive, prison cell. I don't know. Somebody to have good conversations, I think. Maybe I would go I don't know if I would go fucking crazy with somebody like, does it have to be a musician or like anybody?
Any kind, yeah.
I don't know. Leonardo da Vinci. I think there's one or two topics we can go over.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That would be inspiring.
Yeah.
Your next EP.
Oh my God. We could like, dude, I think that's like, seems like a fountain of information right there. But I don't know, once again, like I could, maybe he's a fucking asshole. No idea.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
But then you would still learn something.
Probably. But stuck in a prison cell, that's a big contract.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah, exactly.
What is something that you are excited about in the next future that is projects? Maybe you already answered this. The Max Cooper and the music is coming out.
Yeah, so I have releases coming up. I'm currently working as art director and musical director on an immersive project I was mentioning earlier, which is in collaboration with Taiwan and Montreal. And this is like a musical, like an immersive adaptation of a classical music piece. And this is coming out in a few months. So I'm very, very excited about that. And it's also, the audience is basically, it's targeting a very broad audience. So it's like from young kids to it's like from 6 to 66. And it's basically about, serving contemporary art and very like, cutting edge, music, but to like a broad audience. That's something that's very exciting to me, and that's new because I'm very used to speaking to like niche audiences where we already kind of understand each other. But this time I need to sort of bring my world or like kind of raise awareness to an audience that is not necessarily in touch with that. So that's super exciting for me to see how that's going to go down.
And different and very inspiring for you. Yes.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Last question is, what question should we ask the next guest?
Oh my God. Do I know the next guest?
No.
Oh my God. These are like, oh, wow. You see, like, I don't have such a big imagination. You're asking me these questions. I don't know what to say. What question should I ask the next guest? Okay. If you would have to eat one meal for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for that person, whoever that may be. Terrible question.
There's a question for you, which is, what gives you joy?
Oh, so many things, actually. So many things. I think, does it have to be one thing or?
Oh, anything you want.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so many things. So many meaningful things. I don't know. I love to be alive, as painful as it can be. So many things bring me joy. Like, once again, my friends and family and close ones, like, that's one big one. Food. I'm like huge food nerd. And like, obviously music, I think, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically.
And then food because you're Italian.
Yeah, exactly. But that food kind of goes into the drug department, I think. Yeah.
Very cool. Merlin, it has been a true pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure was all mine.
Pleasure. Looking forward to the next projects that are coming out.
Yeah. I'll be sure to be sending them over to you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Amazing, man.